crypto adoption is growing at 113% per year, which makes it the fastest growing technology in history. And it's growing two times faster than the next fastest growing technology, the internet. There are currently 140 million crypto users today, which means that we're going to go from 140 million people using crypto to 1 billion people by 2024, just to give paint the picture of this growing asset class. And I mean, as an asset, crypto has gone up 2 million percent. No asset in all recorded history has ever done this, and we're just getting started. It is very likely that we will still go 100x from here. So, in this conversation all about crypto, I have two awesome guests with me today. The first is Matthew Chivers, and he is the co founder and CEO at Mage, which is a blockchain consulting company that provides a range of services to accelerate the adoption of blockchain technologies. They do consulting across crypto, blockchain, digital real estate, sales strategy, and sales development. Matthew brings a really interesting perspective to this conversation and his work in the crypto space because he has worked at several big banks and experienced firsthand how these banks operate and what flaws exist in our current financial systems. The other guest is Micah Baylor. And Micah is an entrepreneur and speaker that is focused on welcoming in the convergence and inevitable future that technology is carrying us to. He is a DeFi mage, as he would call himself, and a co-founder and the chief strategy officer at Mage. He worked in sales for many years until he became completely captivated and engulfed by the fascinating world of crypto. Now, both of these lovely humans are good friends of mine, and they bring an incredibly fascinating perspective on the crypto space. Throughout this episode, we'll cover the fundamentals needed to understand the crypto space, such as what is money, what problems currently exist with it, and the financial infrastructure of the world. We'll then discuss how blockchain, decentralized finance, and some of the emerging cryptocurrencies are presenting novel solutions to massive global problems. Finally, we'll give you an overview of how to invest in crypto and what factors to consider when deciding what to invest in. Now, I will warn you that there's going to be a lot of jargon and technical terms that may come out in the conversation. I try to clarify some of them, but even then, don't let that distract you from the core message that is being communicated. I mean, to summarize this conversation, we've gone from commerce to e-commerce, we've gone from mail to email, and now we're going from money to e-money. And this is the explanation of this new universe. So, this is Julian Alvarez, and I'm a software engineer at Facebook and a Gen Z entrepreneur, where I'm currently the co-founder and CTO at a startup named Vise. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the conversation with Matthew and Micah. All right, welcome back to another episode, everyone. I have two amazing guests. This is the first time I have two guests, Mr. Matthew and Micah. Both of these guys are crypto Sherpas, and they're good friends of mine. I met them at a book club, and we have continued to transcend since then. So really excited for this conversation we're about to have. But yeah, to get started, I'd love to hear from each of you a bit of your guys' story and how you got involved in this crypto universe. So, Micah, why don't we start with you?
First, super stoked to be here. Excited what's going to happen. And just to answer your question, I mean, dude, how it all got started was honestly back in 2017. I aped in, I think like most people get into crypto, like not knowing what I was doing. And it says now on my Twitter, it says losing money in crypto since 2017, because that's exactly what I did. I bought in right at the top and then lost money straight away. You know, the bottom fell out, and we went through, 2018 and 19 where not a lot was happening. But what I had done is I had just fallen in love with the technology and seen like what could happen if we actually adopt this as, a people. And it's just been kind of ever since then. I'm not really sure that there's like a spot where you like start doing crypto, but there is like a certain realization where you look back and you're like, whoa, I've been a believer and been believing like a certain lifestyle for like a period of time now. And that's the, I guess the answer to getting into crypto. Chivers, what you got, man?
It sounds like you fell into it. Yeah, my story is slightly different. I'm a bit of a corporate athlete. Worked at some banks. Did some, some big corporate sales, major account sales. Jumped into the payment space. That was my specialty. I would say that I just noticed there's so many friction points in the system. The system is bloated. I just thought, okay, there's got to be a better way. I had some great friends who were forward thinkers that introduced me to the blockchain. I realized that the payment layer is built in. The middlemen there are created in the legacy world here that we're in now. So, yeah, I got into blockchain at a relatively early day, gave me a little bit of financial freedom to do what I needed to do to kind of promote and push my own agenda with respect to, what I want to see happen in the blockchain. And so that would be the catalyst. I just noticed that there was so much friction in the current world, and the blockchain has that payment layer built in that's middlemanless. So yeah, that was the catalyst to pushing me into this particular sector. What got us starting this company was COVID-19. I was doing a fair amount of traveling before, having a good time speculating on some currencies and doing various things in the NFT world. And then COVID hit. We got bored, and Clubhouse came around, and then boom. I'm not a huge social media guy with respect to typing and doing the follows and all this stuff. But Clubhouse was a nice place for me to kind of come in, use my skill set, my voice. And here we are now. So
Amazing. Well, Mike, I can definitely relate with you on investing at the wrong time in 2017, and ever since I lost that money, I'm like, okay, this isn't it, and I kind of went away from the space, only to regret the realization that was actually the best time to get in, or at least one of the best times. But it's okay. We live and we learn, and fortunately, it's still not too late, because as we'll learn, the potential of the industry is still massively in front of us. And for you, Matthew, I think it's fascinating to have been in the banking world where, from a firsthand experience, you've seen a lot of those systems, how they work, and the friction within them. So we're going to talk about the friction. But first, I want to start by just touching on a very basic concept of money, right? Money is fundamental to everyone's life. But how do each of you guys think about money? How do you think about money, Matthew?
Wow, I was hoping Micah would take that one first so I could piggyback off him. Yeah, I mean, money's interesting. What do I think about money? It's super important. What do I think about money? I think that we put our money into a system that has a money multiplier effect of 7, and it keeps a very, very heavy apparatus afloat. It's tough to move money. Wire transfers not on the weekends. If the Fed's closed on a Monday for a holiday, you can't do anything. You got to transfer your money by 1:15 p.m. to get the wire to go through. So yeah, I just think, I think money is shifting now. Money is shifting to something that's digital, that's faster, quicker, and can be done 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I would say that that's my piece. I'm sure Mike has got a better sentiment about that, but I would say that that's how I look at it. I look at it just like that.
No, I mean, like, I would say it's exactly what Matthew says, right? Like, it's like this apparatus that we keep alive. I would say that it's the first technology that humans created that like changed humanity in the same way that like previous things had changed in a profound way. Like the invention of bread was like a major thing in human technology, right? Like we went from being able to not feed everybody, and then all of a sudden we create bread, and now we can like easily just take grain and feed everybody. And like humanity booms. And money was the first thing that was like outside of the physical. It was the first technology that humans used that allowed value to transfer. And since the creation of money, there's just been like different iterations of how it's been controlled. And I mean, it's absolutely painful. Like the most simple forms of money at the beginning were just like cave walls with, a consensus of who had what. And it was like land mainly was a thing we were tracking. And then, somehow we have to be able to make this liquid. And we start creating new technologies to put on this layer. And, from there, we just start to create more and more weird stuff. But now what we've created, up to this point in humanity is basically like this really just messed up system where there's a few gatekeepers that keep all of like the money and all of the power. And what crypto is allowed now is just like that to just be ran by the people. And it's like when people start to ask me about money, it's like, first, like, what is it? It's this apparatus. Like, it's this illusion. It's this thing that we have to create and believe in. It's this technology. But honestly, we can just all agree that it's something new, right? Like whatever we agree is a value is money. It's just a technology is all that it is. Like even back to the beginning of humanity up until now, it's just a technology. And at this point, we've created this new technology that for the first time empowers people to keep a ledger on their own and not have to put that middleman in control. So maybe it's like a long-winded question. I included bread in this answer, but I think it's important to think back and like realize like what is money? Like it's that fundamental to humanity. It's one of the OG technologies that makes us possible. And now we've just created a technology that does it better. And yeah, that's
well,
money.
let's talk about that. I think that's interesting. So I like the description of it being a shared consensus. Like we all agree that this is the way in which we're gonna transact and exchange things. But there's a underlying component of trust, and that trust has lived within societies, and now in today's age, it's attached to governments, right? But the trust is equivalent almost to the trust of the government, which unfortunately in some cases is a lot of trust to place in some cases for some countries. But let's dive deeper into that. What problems, we already talked about them, but what other problems do you guys see with the way money works today?
I would say, do you want to hit it? I just want to talk about US dollars, honestly.
I just want to talk about how we're like, giving the stimulus checks multiple times, printing money that like, like the third round of stimulus or second round of stimulus that was only included to citizens, not even businesses, is greater than the entire market cap of crypto combined. So Russia just pushed all the US dollars into the ocean, kind of like taking one country off of the holding US dollars as a reserve currency. So anyway, I want to hear what Micah has to say, but yeah, those are just a couple things that I had to throw out there.
There's a lot of problems right now with money. Matthew's saying exactly what I'm talking about. Honestly, like this forever inflation is definitely an issue. There's also broader reaching problems with money. One of the problems right now is so many currencies on planet Earth, they use US dollar debt as their gold bullion. So like the OG way that you made money was you took gold, you dropped it in a bucket, and then you gave people pieces of paper from this bucket, and you're like, it's redeemable for this gold. And that's money. And what people do now is they use US dollar debt as the gold, right? And then they're issuing currency off of that. So you've got all of these currencies now that are based off US dollar debt. And US dollars are becoming less accessible as the U.S. does different trade deals, and in recent administrations there was problems with us actually trading with other countries. It's just dollars have become less accessible on planet Earth, and it just means that dollars are less needed. There are still a few things holding up the dollar. One of those things is the fact of the petrodollar. And the petrodollar, if you're not familiar, is just like basically it's the dollar that oil is traded with out of Europe, out of the Middle East. So basically, the US provides military to the Middle East, and they say, you guys sell your oil in dollars. This means now that Japan needs dollars to buy oil from the Middle East. Japan doesn't need to hold euros. Japan needs to hold dollars because people need oil to get things done. But also what you have is as the world becomes greener, that's going to become less relevant. As we become more nationalist, I think a trend right now on Earth is nationalism. Like dollars become less relevant to other countries. And that's painful, I do think one of the best things right now that we could do to fix money is we could have the US issue a central bank digital currency, because this would actually provide in the crypto space a stable coin that we could all trust. There's been different stable coins that have lost their pegs and it's caused problems. But this would make a very stable coin, and then also fix access to the dollar, maybe like a short-term fix. But yeah, like all in all, there's this massive problem of if we still need the dollar, and then there's also all of the other inflation problems. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's messed up, man.
It really sounds like as the world has become more interconnected, there's been a greater and greater need for a global financial system or currency to exist, right? Because now we're not just transacting and trading within our local governments and even our countries. Now it's international, and the internet has really enabled that. But the closest thing we have to a global currency is the US dollar. But obviously, that presents a lot of problems for for governments that use a US dollar. Well, they don't have the they don't have the power to print their own money, even though they have that reliance. So there's a lot of trade-offs and downsides. And now these countries, or anyone that uses the US dollar, is placing their trust in the US government to make sure they responsibly handle their money. But really, how responsible are they being if they have $16 trillion of debt and can print money on the fly anytime they have a problem, which when they print money, obviously inflation goes up, which means the value of your money is going down because of the government's lack of responsibility in how they manage their money.
Not to mention, we've got a 91 or 2-year-old making the decisions right now in Congress, right? Like making decisions on tech and the future of things. And so I'm not positive on his age. I just saw that tweet, but that did kind of make me think like, oh, it's very interesting. Like some of our more forward thinking customers like still don't get it. So I imagine that this guy's got great advisors and whatnot, but I'm hesitant I feel like even people that think they know a lot really don't. We know a lot. And I would say that, we still know nothing. It's a new tech. And so, yeah, that's, just something I wanted to add in on that. And to answer the question again, I know I kind of jumped in front. Micah came in the middle. I'm coming in the backside. But if you think about it, money is like weird. I was talking to someone yesterday, like DeFi, crypto, which are things we're going to go deeper into, DeFi, decentralized finance, cryptocurrencies. Like if you don't have a ton of money and you go to the bank, like the social apparatus is like, oh, I need this amount of money to do things with my money. I need this amount of money to have this banker talk to me. I need this amount of money for this. And so, yeah, that sucks. You know what I mean? Like it should be for everyone. And so there's like this social pressure where it's like, I'm not good enough. I'm not there yet. Soon. And people don't make a lot of money. And so it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. And so this is sort of the problem and why blockchain's great. So I don't want to get too far ahead, but the blockchain allows you to be the bank. DeFi allows people like us to be the bank, and the yield that you can receive even off just small amounts of money is life-changing in the big picture of things. So one of the big problems with money is just the social status connected to it, and what you think you deserve and what you think you're entitled. So anyway, I don't want to go too off topic there, but I think that's a big component of one of the problems with money as well.
Yeah,
I think that's bloody brilliant. It's like the other day I was chatting with one of my guys who invested $100 in crypto last fall, and now he pops on a call with me and he has more than enough money to enter into a crypto yield strategy that gives him a couple of dollars in savings every week. And it's like, a lot of people will like post on their Instagram, like, I'm trying to get some money, right? Or like I'm doing this little mini savings plan, people who are new to finance. And maybe it's hard for them to budget that. But I think what Matthew's saying is like so powerful, right? I mean, people of, if any dollar amount, $10, $10 million, one of the beautiful things about crypto is everything's fractionalized, and it's like often it's forgotten, right? Like you don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy $1 of one Bitcoin. So yeah, no, I appreciate the cleanup, man. That was brilliant. It's like the thing that it's what I'm trying to express, but summed up. And this is what our harmony is actually, is I say stuff like, just like a nerd, and then Matthew comes up and just makes it work. So appreciate it, buddy.
That's the synergy, the power duo.
Founders and entrepreneurial stuff. Boom.
I mean, the ability for anyone to excel depends on the chemistry of the team. So love to see the synergies you guys have. What before moving into crypto, I want to highlight a couple other problems that I think are important. Firstly, there's around 61% of the world does not have a bank account. That means that a majority of the world is cannot access financial services. And we take that for granted being here in the US, where we can open up a bank account, get debt, use credit and whatnot. But most people don't have access to that. And why does this happen? Well, in many countries, you need an identity, you need credit history, you need proof of residency to have a bank account. But many people don't have a lot of these things because they live in poverty, or the government just doesn't have the infrastructure to support that. So that's a big problem. Apart from that, like if you want to do wire transfers across to other people in the world, that can cost you anywhere from $10 to $75 and can easily take multiple days. Even if you buy things with your credit card, it's free for you, but for the merchant, it costs them 3 to 5%, which is a cost that you're paying without realizing, because they're marking you up on the price so that they can account for that fee that they have to pay. And in some cases, it may not even be possible to send a transfer. So, I think in my exploration of crypto, you don't realize there's a problem until you have the global context of how other people transact and how they're being left out. So yes, in the US, there still is a lot of problems with the system, but there's even bigger problems for those that don't even have, the majority of the world that doesn't even have the capability to access this financial infrastructure. So
yeah, this is actually why Micah's going to hate this, but I like Cardano ADA because of this. The biometric wallet they're bringing to Africa. I mean, Africa, depending on the day, is anywhere from 3 to 5 for global trading of Bitcoin. Why? Because governments aren't great. There's some shifts, there's some changes. The apparatus, the infrastructure is not there, like you highlighted. So how do I update my passport? How do I get a passport? How to update my ID? And so they're making partnerships now where you can, Cardano with various other companies are looking to put together a biometric wallet. So yeah, big things for Cardano. And then of course, like you said, without people having this wallet, like, yeah, that's such a crazy thing that I imagine people just in these Western countries, like we're not even thinking about these things. But yeah, this is major. And this is why places, certain countries, one in South America recently, I forget the exact one, I apologize, but just like transition to full Bitcoin. So, I mean, transitioning to the blockchain from your inflationary, currency of your country is like the craziest thing, which if you think about it, it solves so many problems in one. You've got inflationary issues that are pushed to the side. The streamlined transactions is now like, all on me and you, the two users. There's no middleman. So anyway, my 2 cents on that. I hope I didn't piggyback on the end of your question there and we didn't get to the proper question, but I just had to throw out my Cardano for Micah and the biometric wallet solving that problem that the blockchain is supporting.
Oh man, I think he's saying Cardano because it's good news right now, honestly. I will say first, just because this has to be addressed, if this guy is going to be talking about Cardano, just a second, I have to shield my ETH bags. It's going to happen. I mean, basically, like what you have right now in the ecosystem is actually interesting. It's how do we solve a problem? And that is access to liquidity, right? Like, how do we get everyone on Earth access to liquidity? What Julian was speaking about around, just like the problem with money being you send it around the world and it doesn't really work. You don't know there's a problem until you investigate it. And then you're like, good Lord, it costs like $75 to send money to someone in, Uruguay. And if I'm only sending $100, that really sucks. The problem is, how do we get everyone on the Earth liquidity? Biometric wallets, I think, are like the most natural. We need that. God, I hope Cardano solves this for us, but somebody solves it for us. The question I always have is like liquidity, and this is why I'm such a huge ETH fan. Already today, I can download my MetaMask wallet, and this is a biometric wallet because it can scan my face and it can log me into my wallet. And I can access both ETH and Matic today. Like today, people can access these technologies. And inside of ETH and Matic, you have access to on ETH, literally like close to, I think, $57 billion in liquidity is what's locked up in DeFi today. And it's powerful stuff. And even out on Matic, there's $22 billion already locked in Aave on Matic. And Matic is where DeFi is accessible to people today in a very low fee environment. You can do transactions on Matic today for fractions of a cent. And it's interesting to me when I think about Cardano, and honestly, like I'm very positive on the space in general, and I hope everybody wins. And that's one of the things that I believe is true about crypto, is that everyone does win in crypto because technologies tend to stack on top of each other. The question that I have is if liquidity is a protocol. And my theory is that liquidity is in fact a protocol. And what I mean by this is protocols are things that are adopted system-wide. You know, like there's one type of electricity that we use in America, and we all agree we all use this electricity, right? And my theory is that we will agree that we will use ETH liquidity because there's just so much already there. It's already working. Like the smart contracts are firing and there's already billions of dollars in there. This is my theory.
Visa's reconciling transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. I think just recently I heard that they reconciled more transactions on the ETH blockchain than the planet on a single day in a 24-hour period. That's insane.
Nuts. So anyways, since my guys over here talking about some noteworthy things happening, yeah, we're all solving these problems. It's great to have so many people solving these problems in so many different ways. I just say that like today I'm using ETH every day. I'm using Matic every day and I love it. So check it out, folks.
That is powerful. Oh, I got you, man. So I think it's interesting. One thing I want to highlight here is there's obviously, as we've discussed, a huge array of problems in this space. There's not a single, I think, crypto or type of currency that will solve them, but it's rather the unique combination of the capabilities that all of these technologies offer, right? We threw a lot of terms there like protocols, smart contracts, a public ledger. So let's start where everyone is kind of more familiar, like with the Bitcoin space, and we can expand on that a little bit. But like, why do you guys think Bitcoin was created, and what problem was it intended to solve? And obviously, there's been an expansion since then, but that was kind of the inception, right?
You mean that, Matthew? You want to talk about payments layers? Yours is super intentional. I just have opinions on it after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, you can run with it, and then I can sharpen the spear at the end of this if need be.
So, but I mean, to me, like Bitcoin is actually the only. I don't want to say this and like it be taken like in a negative way, but it's the only meme token that will ever work. And what I mean by this is there can only be one token that doesn't do anything but store value that can work, right? Like this is what Bitcoin does. Its job is to prove that you can store value on the blockchain. It's Big Daddy Bitcoin. It replaces gold, and it proves that you can store value on the blockchain. I would call gold a meme, like just for like context. Like really, like why are people trading this? You know what I mean? Like there's I don't know why I'm saying gold's a meme. Guys, we should edit this part out. I'm trying to like explain a point.
Gold is kind of a meme.
Gold's kind of a meme.
I mean, think about like armored cars, 8 of them leaving from one location, 2 of them have the gold in it. I mean,
yeah. God. I mean, like it supports financial markets, but
so like, to provide some context here, gold is obviously one of the types of money that was very popularly used. But the problem with gold is that 1, it's heavy. 2, it's very difficult to subdivide it into parts. It's like, let me give you 1/3 of a gold. Yeah. Very difficult to do. And it's because it's heavy, it's really difficult to transport. So nowadays people, instead of using it to transact, they use it as a store of value. And a big value of gold is the scarcity component, right? Money like the US dollar doesn't have that scarcity component. If the government wants to, they can print all the dollars they want, but they can't do that with gold. You can't print gold. So that's what
Yeah.
makes it unique, and the scarcity is part of what gives it value. And I think in the context of Bitcoin, that is what makes Bitcoin really unique, not only against other currencies, but also even against other cryptos, right? There's only
Yeah.
21 million Bitcoins that can ever be mined. And that scarcity component is what makes it a good candidate for a store of value.
What I mean to say then by like the point of like what is Bitcoin's purpose? Like Bitcoin's purpose is just to prove we can store value on chain. And I think it'll at least succeed in that the best, or it may be the only one that succeeds in that. What's different about Bitcoin versus all other cryptos is all other cryptos will be required to do something. Like ETH does something, Polkadot does something, right? Like Bitcoin is the one that I think will be recognized as the one that just holds value. There's just different types of crypto assets. What I like about Bitcoin is it does just that. I think that we'll eventually start to expect less of Bitcoin as the space emerges. Because if you think about it, Bitcoin's supposed to be digital gold, but gold should make up maybe 1 to 3% of a portfolio. So what's the other 97%? But yeah, that's some opinions on Bitcoin. Mr. Chivers, what do you think about Bitcoin and how it solves our payment problems, man?
Yeah, I don't think it solves our payment problems, obviously. It's expensive and slow. I mean,
The Lightning Network.
Yeah, fine. But I mean, I don't know. I think the best way to look at Bitcoin is this. And this might go down the rabbit trail or the rabbit hole, so I can stop anytime. But look at it like this. People right now buy property, right? Like property is appreciating. Your money you get back out is more. The purchasing power parity might be going down, so the money you get back out might be less. But the idea is like, if I have a building in New York right now, right, which is a relatively safe investment, downtown New York, growing city, or one of the world cities, et cetera, et cetera. COVID hits, and what happens now? There's a moratorium on evictions. So let's just say someone bought in 2019, 2018. They've got this aggressive lending schedule. They need to pay things back, XYZ, counting on rents and this, that, the other. You can't move your building. You can't take it to a different jurisdiction. So I think Bitcoin holds that value there, where it's mobility. If you're making $1 billion transaction, $1 million transaction, whatever, the fees are comparable. And it just allows you to take an asset and have the ability to keep it mobile. So, someone very dear to us said, mail, email, commerce, e-commerce, money, e-money. So that's really just what it is. Investing in stuff is great. Get a portfolio, that's great. Buy some property, that's great. But people don't really understand that, it's the new building that's definitely going to be appreciating. There's a finite supply, and it's mobile. And there's no real governing body above it that's going to keep between you and your sovereignty in that space. And so that's why I think Bitcoin's pretty cool in some capacities, for certain. I think Micah's right about, Ethereum doing things, and you can become the new bank, but you can also bring a Bitcoin to the Ethereum network through wrap Bitcoin. So a lot of my Bitcoins wrap Bitcoin. So yeah, that's just like that. That's that one little extra piece I'll add on top.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So, I mean, obviously, Bitcoin was the inception, and it solves some major problems, but it's only the beginning. And obviously, you guys are not as bullish on it because there's just many other better technologies. And
No,
I
I mean, I'm
think
super bullish on Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying,
Massive.
like, there's just Bitcoin is a percentage of your portfolio. I just like the idea of being the bank, and the DeFi ecosystem on the Ethereum network. You are the bank. In between myself and the airport, there are 200 banks, 250 or maybe even 2,000 ATMs. I don't know. It depends on how far out we want to spread our reach. But that apparatus is being held up. And so I think Bitcoin is just like the smooth sailing. We don't have, OpenSea, $1.5 billion evaluation, 34, 37 employees. I know they're hiring now, but that's just ridiculous. Just the flow, the way the network is built, the smart contract, which we mentioned before, which is simply just an if and then clause. When people are talking about losing their jobs to robots and tech, they're not talking about the Chinese factories that are working between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. because the lights are off and power is cheaper and there's like zzz, 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 like none of that. This is a smart contract, the new way to transact, the new way to set up legal agreements and pay things and all that great stuff. So I'm going too far in one direction, but that's where my head's at.
Amazing. Yeah, so we keep throwing the term DeFi out, which obviously we mentioned at the beginning is decentralized finance. Let's talk more about it because I think that's where I think you guys and myself would agree where a lot of the potential of this space exists. So what is DeFi? What is decentralized finance? And why is it the next big thing?
Oof. This is like my Christmas morning. This is my Super Bowl. I have been asked.
I didn't even reach for the mute button. I didn't even reach for my mouse. I'm like,
he's gonna get very excited very quickly. Okay, so DeFi is what the actual utility is. People ask like, what is this crypto stuff all about? And I tell them very plainly, it's open source banking software, and that's DeFi is what it's about. Mr. Chivers is over here expressing something that we talk about, and that's the fact that this makes a lot of sense when you consider that there's banks between here and the airport, 200 of them, all with employees, employee benefits, CEOs getting CEO salaries, paying rents. I mean, if you walk down any major street in any city, there's 12 banks around you. Like where there is money, wealth is created. And what DeFi is it is open source banking software where now the people put the money in and the wealth is created for the people. One of the coolest things that exists inside of DeFi is these magical little things called stable coins. And stable coins right now, you hear about them being talked about in the Senate. They're being noticed. I'm super excited about stable coins and the DeFi technology being built around them. There's different types of stable coins even. You want to be careful about the ones you get into. There's ones like USDC that are actual dollars sitting inside of a custodial account and then a digital crypto dollar issued out on top of it. And there's other crypto stable coins that are backed by crypto and like pure crypto dollars. But either way, just know what you're getting into and know that there's these little tokens you can hold that if you send them back to your bank account, they spend like $1. If you send them to your crypto debit card, they spend like $1. But since dollars exist now in this open source banking software, you can take it and use it inside of DeFi and put it in like crypto savings accounts. Crypto savings accounts, they pay you all of the money from your money, not some of the money plus like the CEO's bonus. And there's places inside of DeFi where you can go and put stable coins and get 20% return on a deposited stable asset. So yeah, DeFi is that. It's open source banking software. Like there's so many different things that's going on with that. There's like yield farming and staking and new money verbs people have to become comfortable with. But that's really the way I recommend you get into it. You start to think about the different money verbs you have in your life. Like, what do I use money for? I save money, I spend money, I do these things with money. And then just pick a money verb and look at how can you do that with crypto. And that's when you start to understand like the value of what it is. There's a way to really do all of the different money verbs plus some new money verbs like yield farming or staking inside of DeFi. So yeah, DeFi in a nutshell. Mr. Chivers, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's it. It makes you the bank. I think I mentioned before, I've got an econ degree. It's slightly dated now, but yeah, I think the money multiplier is like 7. So yeah.
What do you mean it's
like
7?
Meaning like you give a bank $1 and they plan on making $7 per dollar you give them. And so there's a system where the money is times 7, and by timesing it by 7 per dollar, You get deposits, and then you put out loans and credit cards and lines and these types of things, and that's just paying for an inflated system that is just getting bigger and bigger, and more loans and more loans. And yeah, I think DeFi is just, you are the bank. You provide the liquidity. I think a great example of this is BlockFi. So BlockFi has a little partner called Visa, and they're paying Bitcoin rewards on their credit card. They decided to kind of jump in and do it the DeFi or the crypto route. So instead of taking deposits from a bank, they now allow people like myself, Micah, you, Julian, anyone listening to this call, to take their crypto, stake it on their platform. And this is now the liquidity provided to Visa and BlockFi to do a Bitcoin rewards credit card. And so the yields and the APRs that you can get through BlockFi are ridiculous compared to the traditional market. I mean, what you're getting 0.00. I mean, yeah, it's 3,000 times, and I'm sure there's someone that's going to do the math here and call me on this, but yeah, it's
Now,
many times the difference. And so when we say you are the bank, you are the bank. You are providing liquidity to Visa and BlockFi to do credit cards, which is a traditional finance type of thing. So yeah, that's my one add-on for that, I would say.
now my friends, Mr. Chivers is talking about like different iterations of DeFi, right? Like BlockFi is an interesting concept because it's a centralized institution building a front face to like DeFi in the back. We refer to it proudly in the Ethereum community as the DeFi wallet. It's new types of companies will come around and they will create front ends to crypto with crypto in the back. But depending on how deep you want to go and how much of a pioneer you want to be, you would jump in and actually you can interact with the back end yourself. It's interesting with crypto because anyone could set up a front end and then just sell you things from the blockchain, but you could also just go to the chain yourself. So there's also tools that exist like BlockFi out there on the blockchain, things like Aave. You can put in a deposited asset and it's used for borrowing and lending the same way that BlockFi does. There's also places like on Uniswap where you might go and deposit things like Ethereum or wrapped Bitcoin into a pool and then collect fees from the trading of those assets. So it's interesting to answer the question, like, what is DeFi? Like very plainly, open source banking software. And then like right now, there's just so many different ways to engage, with it. Everything from like CDFi, centralized, decentralized finance, like BlockFi, to actual, DeFi like Aave or Uni. What is DeFi, my friend? It's ever evolving and the funnest place to be right now.
Yeah,
That's what
wow.
DeFi is.
Let me see if I can.
It's certainly the most profitable.
I don't know.
Yeah.
NFTs are also pretty hot, man. NFT summer is happening. Don't listen to me about buying some JPEGs, but it's going
I think
well.
that's why we're making the marriage between DeFi, NFTs, skill-based gaming. So yeah, it's all flow.
Oh, we're about to transition there, and I wanna make sure I summarize this to see if I understand this correctly. So basically, the fact that there's so many banks like all around us just goes to show that these banks are making a ton of money, right? From many different ways. They're taking your money, they're loaning it out, they're getting interest, they're charging credit card fees on merchants. And just because they have this infrastructure, they're making massive bank, which means that your money is kind of like other people are profiting from your money rather than you having the ownership yourself. So in this decentralized, so that's centralized finance in a way, right? These banks are the centralized entities. But now with DeFi, it's decentralized in the sense that there's this global financial system that has been created, this infrastructure that has been created in a digital world, and anyone can participate in it, right? Like if you want to, before, the only people that could make loans were banks or maybe like professional investors that wrote out contracts and whatnot to be able to give a loan. It was basically very complicated, and only the banks had ownership over being able to do all of these financial things. But now, anyone can participate and be their own bank, as Matthew says. And because of that, you're able to give loans. You're able to save your money more efficiently. You're able to do things like staking. And because of that, now you're able to make money off of your money because you're your own bank. And that empowers you. It not only helps you keep your money more secure and use it more efficiently, but now your money can work for you in a way that it never could before.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Cool. Glad I understood that. So let's transition now into what you guys are doing at Mage. So I know you guys are doing a lot there, which is fun because you're taking a lot of opportunities. But why don't you highlight like one or two of the biggest things that you're doing, or what opportunities you're taking advantage of with Mage?
I'll take this one. I think the most important thing we're doing well, there's so many things we're doing, but I think is what we can discuss right now freely and openly is our partnership with one of our other companies, metabitbroker.io. And so this is a digital real estate division of Mage. So we've made partnerships, purchased parcels in the metaverse for the last couple of years now, and have created just a giant footprint in something called crypto voxels. Crypto voxels is a metaverse. A metaverse is a virtually persistent world that lives on the Ethereum blockchain. The parcels are NFTs. The assets inside of the parcels are NFTs. And so what we're doing as part of our big strategy is, I think I alluded to before, we've got kind of a knowledge base, a design studio, and then an ecosystem that's going to revolutionize things as far as the marriage of, well, I guess I'll say it again, DeFi, NFTs, skill-based gaming. And so I think the component that's the most exciting today and actionable is our metaverse stuff. Zuckerberg came on board. You guys have heard of a little company called Facebook. So, Facebook, metaverse native 2025. I'm not sure if you can agree with me or not. I don't know if it's 2023, 2025, whatever. But the reason that is the metaverse and the parcel you're in, the digital real estate, is a Web3 front end. So we do very high level, bespoke, custom NFT drops for a Porsche group, some animators, whatever. And there is an upfront cost for this. You got to do your smart contract in the back end. You got to have your Web3 front, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's prohibitive. And that's kind of the opposite of what blockchain's about in crypto. And of course, there's a marriage of capitalism, XYZ. What we're doing right now in CryptoVox is we're allowing people for a small fee. CryptoVoxels parcels were maybe just a couple $100, even just a year ago. And now we're selling them for hundreds of thousands, but certainly tens of thousands. People can come to us. They can lease a property, a parcel inside the metaverse. We have districts that are monetization zones with brands, celebrity partners. Someone we co-founded the district with is Stevie Williams. He's a pro skateboarder, one of the founders of DGK. The man is like, I don't know any celebrities really. I've never had interest in celebrities. I've just kind of done my own thing. And meeting this guy and kind of giving him the information and helping create just a beautiful thought leader has been such a great opportunity. And so through some of these marriages and these partnerships, we're going to start now in the next, we've got leasing, we've got people in there. We're piloting this, but now we're like expanding and going bigger. I'll be in Toronto with Kenny Hotz. I won't go down the rabbit hole on who Kenny Hotz is, but look him up. Just an amazing individual that wants to do great things on the blockchain. Specifically, he's got many different hats, but journalism. And so what we're creating inside of the metaverse are Web3 front ends. So you can come to me.
What is a Web3 front end?
So a Web3 front end is a front end of a website that allows you to connect to the blockchain. So it uses the blockchain as a database. And so we're allowing people to come in, experiment. They don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. We charge them a few $100s for bigger parcels, $500. And we give them the ability to have a website that you're not visiting, but you're physically standing inside of. And so the ethos of the business, what are you into? What are you supporting is there? The music, the vibe, even the district you choose has these different components. And so people are physically visiting your website, which is your parcel. They can interact with your content, interact with your consumables, interact with your digital assets right then and there. Click purchase, and MetaMask is the payment layer. It's the Ethereum blockchain. It's a frictionless environment. It's a global currency appreciating with a global market. And they click a button. It brings you to OpenSea, which is essentially a smart contract house of digital assets. And so you can physically come inside this world. You can make purchases. You can drive people to your headquarters. A group we're partnered with is BitLectroLab. We threw one of the most gnarly metaverse parties ever. 1,584 unique users. It was an NFT drop that sold out in 19 minutes. The pre-sale was only 20. And so what we're doing is, and they didn't, they had their own facilities, so this wasn't a handout for them. They definitely, it's a great partnership, but we're showing people what's possible. And now we're kind of scaling this out to everybody. And so we want people to be able to come in, 2, 3, 5 people. I don't know if you live in a third world country, first world country, whatever, but we're trying to make the cost not prohibitive. And so if any of your listeners are outside of America and some of these prices seem too high, we'll adjust it based on the purchasing power parity of your country. But what I'm getting at is we're giving people the opportunity to produce digital assets on the Matic blockchain, which is a green blockchain, proof of stake, so no carbon footprint. And they're able to host a website on the blockchain. You can go visit, make one click to access the pay portal, a second click to pay, job done. Smart contract, if and then clause. If I pay, then you send asset. Click, click, boom, it's in your wallet, job done. So that right there is, we're doing a lot of things. Some of our people are talking about investment and, like they're like, guys, it's a lot of things you're doing. And so they're not realizing that it's really complementary goods and services under one umbrella. And so if we're breaking it down to 2 or 3 things, what we're doing today that's the most important and the most exciting is providing people the opportunity to experience the metaverse, to produce digital assets, and really forward think and forward run this new space. Your imagination is better than the blockchain today. We're in Pong or whatever that game was called back in the day. So people are jumping in now, and the people that jumped in back in the day are now working at Disney and all these great different studios. And so we're now getting that next generation of forward thinkers to come into this place, help us design the future, what this looks like. And so that was a very long-winded answer to like one of the things we're doing that in the grand scheme of things is small, but the things that we can do to help people and to provide awareness is huge. Mage purpose is to provide a number of services that accelerate blockchain adoption. And so this is just one place that we're doing that. And it's quite simple. You can physically see it. A lot of the stuff we're doing is theoretical. Inside the metaverse, you can see it, you can touch it. An hour with me, you get it. You're going to call me the next couple of days, and then you pull the trigger by Friday. So yeah, I would say that's one piece. There's other pieces that we can speak about. And Micah is kind of front running the micro certification component to create some professionals. So I can transition to that. And of course, we've got our greater DeFi play that is really going to be revolutionary. Of course, everyone says that, but yeah, I think we're pretty good at this and have a good vision on where we're going with this. But Micah, maybe you can speak about the kind of the knowledge base that is going to fuel our design studio, which is going to fuel the bigger DeFi play. So that was my 2 cents on the metaverse. Micah, take the floor.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. Matthew's like, what we're doing today is that it's the easiest thing to do is get people in the metaverse. It's actionable. What you realize so quickly is that you need a lot of people doing that to do that at scale. And that's why there's a 512% increase in blockchain professional demand year over year, 2019 to 2020. And now we're in 2021, and that stat, I'm sure, has only risen. And essentially what I see is this massive void of people who are professionals operating in the blockchain space. There's a lot of artists and there's a lot of developers, but there's not a lot of professionals operating in the blockchain space. So long-term, one of the things that we intend to do is to issue micro certificates on chain that simply say you know things about blockchain. And these things would, be essentially just NFT certificate of knowledge. We're starting this vision by kicking off our 4-week course. The 4-week course is just the friendliest intro to crypto, NFT, and DeFi. It gets you through like the whole bit. And then at the end, if you want me to test you and certify you, I will. I'll even send you an NFT that says you know things. And what this just means is you're a professional. And now you can be creative in the space however you want. What I love about blockchain the most is that blockchain allows creatives of any type to play in the space. I'm a creative. but not in the sense that I can draw anything, or like, don't ask me to put a circle on a piece of paper. Like, it's not going to happen. It seems like an oval and lopsided. I can't make physical art. I can't like play instruments, but I feel creative in the way that I organize organizations. And if you're a professional in the space, you can come and use blockchain to be whatever type of creative you are. Like, you can just come and do your thing. So yeah,
that got slightly vague at the end there.
Slightly vague at the end there.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's an ecosystem, a knowledge base that's fueling the greater play. There's a lot of people out there that want to do the work. There's not a lot of people that can, and so we're trying to provide that opportunity. For individuals. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah, I think what we'll end up with is an ever-evolving ecosystem of people who are creating a body of knowledge and certifying themselves on that. And then what I envision is you'd be able to take your NFT certificate of knowledge, you'd be able to stake it into a front end, and that front end would just be a place where people could book that service through you. So if you were a professional operating in the space and you wanted people to know that you could issue NFTs, well, now you could stake that and then sell that as a service to brands through your front end website, if you will. It's a place for us to know that you know these things. The group as a whole has created this course on what you need to know to do that, and we've come to a consensus that you know how to do that. And then there's like a community marketplace. Is essentially like the magic of NFTs plus DeFi, is you have stable coins flowing through the NFT certificate of knowledge on the front end. I think that a lot of people can do this. The Mage network will be a place where this exists, but essentially to meet that 512% increase in blockchain developer demand, and this will only grow, we're going to start certifying people, and smarter people are going to come and make more complex courses and certify more smarter people. And that's what it's all about. We're just organizing smart people, certifying more smart people on how to be blockchain professionals.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, that's really interesting. I didn't know you guys were doing that, but I love that because there's actually a modern day huge problem around certification. I mean, how are certifications handled in today's age? Primarily through universities, which unfortunately is not even like why do you pay thousands of dollars for universities? Because people care about the certifications they provide, even though they may not actually communicate the actual skill sets that are needed for a certain job. But it's the closest thing we have.
It's a Western thing. Like, my girlfriend is from Central Asia, better educated than most people we know. But when she came to America, she needed to take some of the remedial classes. Of course, she tested out of them, so that was easy. But she's like, oh, I didn't realize that universities in Central Asia that are some of the best on their side of the world are like, they're like, oh, it's okay, this is weird. It's not what's the word I'm looking for? Accredited. So you know what I mean? It's just another Western middleman kind of thing. And so if you want to come to America, you gotta play with the dollar. And if you've taken calculus to it another place, you got to come take pre-cal in America one more time just to make sure that you're able to do the basics. So yeah, very, very, very strange. Very, very strange.
Yeah, it's a massive problem. And I think like if other people are able to solve the certification problem like yourself, that poses a massive risk on universities. But I think it's great because at the end of the day, what should matter is that you know something, not that you went to some institution and got some badge that shows something superficial.
Absolutely.
So amazing. Yeah. And I think I love highlighting this as an opportunity for a problem that blockchain and those NFT certifications can actually validate. Because an NFT in this case, I imagine the value is that you're able to uniquely identify someone's skill set. And because it's on the blockchain, there's a public ledger on it. And the people that are giving that certification have an identity of their own on the blockchain. So it's like, okay, you're certified, but where did that certification come from? And you can trace it back to the validity of that person that even awarded that certification in the first place.
Totally. I mean, this came out of necessity, really. Like, wow, this is a heavy thing to say, but we are the best business development officers on the blockchain by a billion miles. If there's someone better, please introduce me to them. And so we're realizing, okay, everyone says yes. Um, so what do we need? We start to reach out, look for more people, and we're like, how do we quantify? How do we figure out who's what, when, where, and how? And so this just kind of was birthed out of necessity. We've got too many customers, can't find the right skill set. How do you find the right skill set? Where do you find the right skill set? So yeah, it's just something that it's very, very forward thinking. It's possible we're too early. And so our company will be just fine based off of our bigger DeFi play, and of course the metaverse stuff. And so it's just a matter of having something there when the mass aggregate does want to transition onto the blockchain. We just want to make sure that we're there to meet them with the most up to date and best content.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. No, great example of a use case in the blockchain, and I'm happy you guys are taking opportunity of that. Cool. So I want to transition next to some entrepreneurial lessons, right? Matthew, you're first time CEO. Micah, you're fairly new to the entrepreneurship realm. So Matthew, I'm curious, like you being the CEO of Mage, and this being like the first time you get to do this, what has your experience as a first time founder been, and what's been challenging about it, and what have you learned from this experience so far?
I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but I've always been a CEO. I just didn't realize. I mean, nothing's changed. Every job I've had, I'm the best. Nothing, yeah. The difference is I now have the ability to control the ship. So there won't be inequalities, there won't be inequities. Yeah, I think it's been a natural progression. And the reason I fell out of the corporate America is because I saw a better way. And you know, if there's 8 people that don't and one that does, that's too bad. And so, yeah, I would say, I can kind of, I don't want to, I want to humble myself. I don't think I'm the best in the world at anything. Of course, the more I know, the less I know. But I would say the transition's been great. It's really nice having the personal agency to do what needs to be done. Being agile and quick and making sure we're not a bloated organization. We're keeping it light and tight. And it's really wonderful. I mean, it's such a great experience to connect with new people and to really kind of not control but try to guide the ship in the right direction. That way, the things that are important to us, we're able to execute, and we're not, you know what I mean. There's no one in between us and getting the job done. So for me, it's been a really, really nice transition, simply because everything I've done, if you were to like jump on my resume, it's like kind of like, oh, jumping to different positions very quickly. And simply because, I was the CEO of small business bankers. Then I was the CEO of market managers. Then I was the CEO of major account sales. And unfortunately, the chairman, if in this example, the chairmans just didn't want to move as quickly. They'd taken many years, many different degrees to get to these upper echelons of banking, and they're like, well, if I was 20 or 30, yes, but I mean, I'm retiring in a few years and I'm making big money, and so you change this problem on your watch, and so I don't want to wait till I'm 50 to change this problem. I want to start with the younger generation like you guys. I want to start with, a lot of our customers, the second question they ask are, what about my kids? I'm like, yeah, what about your kids? Get them started now. Like wealth generation is happening now, and it's simply a matter of time. Don't jump into crypto to simply speculate and try and make money quickly. You're going to get burnt. 5% of day traders make money, 3% of crypto day traders make money. Like, come on, that's not what it's about. So, anyway, I might be going long winded here, but for me, it's been a really fun transition. I think I was born for this. I love making relationships. I love cultivating personalities. I love being in the background, putting all these different pieces together. And that's just what I've been doing. And now we're doing it for ourselves, and we're in control of our vision and our outcome. And we get to decide on how we do this. So yeah, it's been beautiful and fun.
Yeah, that's great to see. It's been a natural progression for you, and something so naturally you fit into and are able to magnify. And I've seen your leadership at play, so it's amazing for you to now have that opportunity to exercise it to its full extreme. I love that. And Micah, for you, I'm
Thank you.
curious if you could, if you had the opportunity to teach all young entrepreneurs, like you sent a WhatsApp message to all young entrepreneurs across the world, and it could be a concept about entrepreneurship or life, what concept would you teach them?
This idea that Matthew, he's like, I've always been a CEO. I love this. Like, it says that you can always be your best wherever you are, and you can start practicing these entrepreneurship, tendencies wherever you are. And wherever you are, if there is one thing you were to start doing to begin this entrepreneurial path, I would recommend that you start seriously considering how you master and use your personal flow. And one of the things you'll find as you master your personal flow and taking your energy and directing it at one way and running that way really hard, you'll find that you have to figure out what you want to run hard at. And when you figure out what you want to run hard at, and you start to have an idea of like, oh, if I drink a lot, I can't work well the next day. Like, you start to really get the tools to be able to do a lot of stuff. I believe that we as people, if we just direct our energy, we can really move into this adjacent possible, like this future that is actually, I think, quite mind-boggling. Like the future that's possible with AI, VR, crypto, all of that. Anyways, I'm just saying that if I was to send one thing to everyone, it's like, yeah, figure out your flow cycles, get really comfortable with recovery, get really comfortable with like sleeping and taking ice baths and going to saunas and taking care of yourself. Like, get really good at that. Get really good at sleeping. Once that's done, have some really good goals and run really hard at them. I would say it's the thing I've learned.
Just a few goals too. I mean, I guess I'm piggybacking.
Just like one. Well, like I think one like huge one that's just like huge, like introduce blockchain to everybody on Earth, right?
Yeah, that could be like your
no sleep, always working. Those are probably like the more I guess standardized answers, and those are obviously all included. But yeah, anyway, please continue.
The thing is, you can have one massive or overarching goal, which you can also clarify as your mission. But then there's a subset of goals that help you achieve that, right? So I think what helps, by the way, and when Micah talks about flow, he's referring to the state of performance in which you feel your best and do your best work. And there's a lot of psychology and philosophy in order to achieve these flow states. But one of them is to be able to define hard and clear goals. That's what Micah's talking about here. So when you define a massive goal that really matters to you, and it's so compelling, you have no reason to do anything else rather than to move in that direction. But you can also think about it as a set of dominoes, where that one massive goal is like the biggest domino you want to knock down in your life. But it's hard to tackle that massive domino right on its head. So instead, you can build like smaller dominoes, like say that massive goal is like a 10, 20-year goal. Well, a smaller domino could be your 5-year goal, your 1-year goal, your 3-month goal, 1 month, 1 week goal, all the way until like what you're doing today directly aligns with that higher level goal. So because that big goal may seem intimidating and far reached, but if you align things in the right direction, you'll make sure that what you do today contributes to that higher level mission. And I think that's how you stay focused and aligned, and that you run in the right direction rather than just being distracted by whatever pretty penny is along the path. So I love that. Cool. So in the interest of time, I'm going to move on here. And, we've talked a lot about crypto, obviously. And since you guys are Sherpas, I'm curious what advice you would have for young entrepreneurs that are interested in getting into this space. Like, where should they start, or what other advice do you have for them?
Call us. Join the Discord. Don't speculate. When you go to Thanksgiving this year and your cousin or your buddy or your brother is talking about his 30x gains, most of the time people are not talking about all the other money they lost here and there. So have a strategy. Don't just jump in. Like you said, you jumped in 2017, you got burnt, you sold, you left the market, things have gone, well, you've seen what's happened since then. So have a strategy. We are the face, and again, like we don't have 20 products. It's like all kind of one. But yeah, we are the face of new banking. We are the new financial guys. If you believe in the ecosystem, you believe it's increasing, you think Bitcoin's going up, you think Ethereum's going up over time, it's the better technology, then you start to buy in. You want a dollar cost average. If you know what dollar cost averaging is, it's like you choose a day of the week you buy, you choose the amount you buy. If it's up, then you get less. If it's down, when I say when up and down, I mean the price, if the price is down, you get more. And so you just slowly start to build up this reserve, or quickly, depending. And then from there, you jump into a stable token strategy, which is what Micah was talking about. You never want to sell your original investment. You want to keep your ETH, keep your Bitcoin, leverage it responsibly, get some stable tokens. The stable tokens, if the market goes down, well, guess what? The stable tokens are pegged. You're still collecting amazing yields, and you can recapitalize, buy back in, cover your position, get more Bitcoin, get more ETH, let it come back up, redo it again. And the best part is that you're taking a loan and paying a loan back, so there's no taxes. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Micah, what's up?
I'm here to tell everyone this is not financial advice, but these are the magical things that can happen. Like if you're getting into this space, like what we're going to teach you to do straight away when you land in the Discord is how to get your wallets. And your wallets are just your tools. They're how you like get through the jungle gym, right? Like you need these things to move around and maneuver. And once you get these wallets set up, we recommend 3. You got to get like your MetaMask, your web interface wallet set up, hardware wallet, and then an exchange wallet. Once you have those things set up, then we begin the process of accumulating 3 different bags of crypto. And the first bag of crypto is your blue chips, Ethereum, Bitcoin, things like that. I define blue chip as something that I can use as collateral inside of Aave. But I'm a purist, so don't hate me. But basically, what I tell people is you get these 3 wallets set up, and then you start accumulating these bags of crypto. The first bag you're going to accumulate is an Ethereum bag, a Bitcoin bag. And basically, through that process of buying Ethereum, you are going to learn why it is awesome. Because every single time you dollar cost average and you put in that extra $100, that 1,000, 10 grand, whatever your number is, you're going to be like, oh, I should know this better. And you're going to start to understand your wallets more and how to use the space. So yeah, if you're new to it, you're trying to get involved, you need your 3 wallets, you need to start buying Ethereum until you understand why it's awesome. Those are my opinions, and definitely not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. We are not financial advisors. But in that context, what factors do you guys consider when deciding what cryptos to invest in?
You kind of broke up there for a second. You said something about some factors when deciding what to invest in.
It's exactly what I asked. What factors do you consider?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Micah. What do you consider?
Oof. My favorite space is DeFi, and NFTs are happening right now, and that's maybe a bit of another conversation. But when I'm looking at a project, the main question I have is, does it solve a liquidity issue for people? Like, does it make money more accessible for people? And if the answer is yes, then there's other fundamentals that you should consider. Basic tokenomics, like can you mint infinite tokens? Is a token supply capped? Like, in the case of Bitcoin, like basic tokenomics, Bitcoin's capped. There can only ever be so many Bitcoin. There's Bitcoins that are lost. We think really there's going to be like 18 million in circulation. Good tokenomics, scarce asset. Ethereum, right? Like Ethereum, the cap is probably around 120 million Ethereum, but now they're burning a little bit of Ethereum every single transaction that happens. And they're actually burning more Ethereum than they're printing, so the supply of Ethereum will go down, making it a scarcer asset. Phenomenal. And then you have things like Doge. Doge can infinitely mint tokens for as long as it damn pleases. So, first, does it solve a liquidity issue? If yes, look into the fundamentals. Fundamentals, I could talk like that's another podcast. But some basic ones, tokenomics, and then after that, you'll start to find developers and teams and just things you like. But fundamentally, my
I'd say
question is
to answer that would be a little bit simpler. If it's solving a problem, it's probably good. There's a lot of these tokens out there that are like connected to, I need to be careful what I say, stuff, projects that are like around, sports drinks or something. I mean, those are like the meme tokens. I would say that like if it's solving a problem, it's probably going to have some legs. Chainlink is a network of nodes that form an oracle. An oracle is a repository of nodes. Nodes take data from the physical world and put it onto the blockchain. Insurance has problems. There's the human element. If you're supposed to get 100 grand and they can get you 80, they're incentivized otherwise. So Chainlink was something that I was really excited in when I first got into the blockchain, because I was like, wow, this is awesome. Remove the human element. Insurance is all actuarial science and these tables. So an algorithm. So yeah, I look at what problem will it solve now? And I think something that we haven't said, which is super important, and I know NFTs are not a currency, but when looking at NFTs, have we defined what an NFT is? I think we've said NFT 3 or 4 times. We've done a pretty good job of defining what it is. But an NFT is a non-fungible token. I'm sure everyone's at least heard of one component of that word, non-fungible or token. And so let me put all 3 together for you. I give Julian $50 tonight. He gives me $50 back tomorrow. Do I check the number? No, I don't care. 50 is 50. I lend him my car. He brings me the same make, the same mile, the same tires, the same color, right? Is it the same car though? If it's a different VIN? No. So a $50 bill is fungible. A vehicle that I own is non-fungible. The reason people are getting into NFTs right now is because the smart contract associated with NFTs leaves a trailing 10% for the artist. Meaning if an artist today were to come out, they were to sell you some stuff, you buy it for $100, and then, I don't know, Ariana Grande sees it and buys it for $100,000. Well, Ariana Grande owns your piece, but you don't get any of that commission, right? And so it's recalibrating, making things more equitable, which is why the first people to flood in are the artists. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure, for the sake of the listener, if you have made it to the end here and you have wondered what NFTs are, we are bad. Maybe Julian edits this and puts this up front. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Just want to add a little bit more clarity.
Amazing. Cool. That's good. Good to define that there. But yeah, I agree. The core of it is, the question you should always ask yourself is like, what problem is this crypto aiming to solve? And if you can't answer that question, or you can answer it, but the problem isn't compelling enough, then, it's probably not worth it. And also it's like, you got to realize that, okay, but why is crypto why are the advantages and capabilities of crypto and blockchain, why does this make it a better solution as opposed to other technology that could be used to solve it? What is the unique advantage with this crypto?
Decentralized, right?
Exactly, and that could be one of the components. But the question is, does everything need to be decentralized? Like some problems, like do some problems require decentralization in order to be solved? It's like,
there's definitely problems that are solved better for centralization. Every time, though, that you solve a problem in a centralized way, though, it becomes solved for a more narrow group of people. So problems that are broad deserve to be decentralized solutions, and problems that are very specific deserve to be centralized solutions.
That's a beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. I love that. I haven't heard you say that before. I love that.
Thank you, sir. I don't think we've been asked the question. But yeah, access to global liquidity is what this solves. Just like access to free media, social media made everyone an influencer, gave everyone access to information. This just gives access to capital for everybody. It decentralizes capital. Very broad problem that we should decentralize. What you should eat for dinner is a centralized problem that only you should deal with.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and in that context, one thing I do want to mention is that when I first learned about crypto, I didn't learn about DeFi and like I invested in things, but I didn't really understand DeFi. And it wasn't until I later learned about DeFi about more so like a year ago that everything made sense to me, or the potential of the space really clarified for me. So for anyone like thinking about where to start, that would be my recommendation. In fact, I'll include some resources and some videos that Micah shared with me. That once I watched them, I was like, boom, everything makes sense. I understand now. um, so cool. Awesome. Last three questions for you guys. So this is a fun question. Do you guys invest in stocks? If not, why not?
I do, but I just invested a long time ago when I was still stuck in my my financier suit. Not so much now. No, all crypto,
I
NFTs, etc.
Micah.
Mining rigs, which is hiding behind this thing here.
I do currently hold some stocks. However, those stocks are held as synthetic assets on the Mira protocol, and I'm yield farming them with UST stablecoins.
What the
So
hell?
it's just another level of holding stock. Everything is better in crypto. Trust me.
Oh my god! All right, that sounds like a whole nother podcast to understand what the
Yeah,
hell
I
that
was
means.
about to say, oh God, I officially have to Google something. As soon as we started this company, I've like focused on other things, and I'm like, okay, a DeFi crypto expert. I no longer need to be at the cutting edge of DeFi crypto. So I'm not even sure what that means. So you'll have to tell me.
Well,
Yeah.
it's next level when not even Matthew knows what's going on. That's funny. Cool. Yeah. And so, what resources would you recommend for people that want to learn more, get started? I'll include some, but I wanted to see what you guys might suggest here.
Seriously, just come to our Discord. We can get Julian the link. Come to our Discord and say hello.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's self-serving. Like, I truly am trying to think. Like, I just want DeFi for everyone, but the problem is, there isn't that really central repository
Yeah.
of good information, and if there's good information, there's no support. So
This is
it's very difficult. People are using YouTube. There's some other resources that are out there for more nuanced customers, but
this
yeah,
is
I think you need a community. You
yeah,
need a
this is what I
community, and
speak
that's what we're
about.
providing.
Yeah, this is what I speak about. Like problems that are specific need to be solved in a centralized way. Being onboarded into crypto is a very specific thing. And we believe that we can help, solve that. There's other communities for sure, but one of the easiest ways to get into crypto, the best place to start is to find a bunch of people doing it, do it with them. And we think we're a fun place to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
we're working towards being that. I mean, one of the brands you haven't mentioned, which is like Micah and Mai's pet project with Stevie Williams, is blockchainonboarding.io, baby. Like, we want to bring blockchain onboarding to the world. Now, are we too aggressive in that capacity? Maybe. So are we going to kind of slow down a little bit and make sure we show what's possible first, and then just take the early tricklers, the new adopters? But yeah, I would be hesitant to tell people to go somewhere else because I can't control the flow of their information. And I don't know how much they protect their customer based off of hardware wallets, security stuff. So we're building what we believe will be the help desk / knowledge base. In the meantime, people are using YouTube, Twitter, Clubhouse, but we aim to establish that community-based knowledge foundation that hopefully your listeners and future listeners to come will be utilizing.
Yeah, amazing, cool. I will include the link to the Discord, and I've been a part of it, and I can validate their ability to guide you through the abyss. So awesome, cool. With that, final question for you guys: what impact do you guys want to have in the invention of the future? How will you guys invent the future?
I just want to bring financial sovereignty to everybody. That would be awesome. I want people to, I think I've had a nice life. I've got a great family. As I get older, I just start to realize more of these inequalities and equities. I mean, I just want to be part of the solution that brings abundance to everyone. I want to show people this frictionless environment. I want to work towards abundance. I want people to be able to provide their data in a decentralized way. The way they're being paid for their data is in a token. They can leverage this token and then do great things with it. So that's what I want. I just want to be part of something that helps push the envelope further. Was this a goal from birth? No. Did I stumble into this on accident? Yes. Do I now have the ability to potentially make a play that would make a difference? Absolutely. We spoke about Axie Infinity. I'll be very brief, but some of my great friends that I've known for many years in different countries, one in particular, Venezuela, we played Dota 2 together. I've been keeping track and up to date with these guys over the years. And of course, Venezuela is going through a very difficult time. And so the income they were making, and think about like COVID-19, everyone's stuck inside. So the income some of my friends were making was off of farming RuneScape gold. Now I provide them with the ability to play Axie Infinity. I pay them $100 a month salary, which is 7 or 8 years worth of income. Of course, people listening to this from Venezuela, maybe there's a different story and there's other people making more money. But this is a small thing I can do, which of course has a large ROI as well. I'm not doing it for free, but what I'm trying to get at is like, this is something that's helping and solving a problem, and the blockchain's facilitating this. The Axie Infinity that I'm purchasing is an NFT. It's appreciating. They're playing a game inside of an ecosystem that's an Ethereum-based ecosystem game. My mom, your mom, all of our moms, our aunts, everybody's playing Candy Crush. In the future, right, they'll be playing an Ethereum-based game, therefore earning Ethereum or earning in Axie Infinity's example, Smooth Love Potion rebranded from Small Love Potion. So this is something today. I don't have all the money in the world. I don't have all the answers in the world. We're working towards them. But what I'm doing now today with a little bit of money that you invested as well, Mike, is we're helping people make $2,900 plus an additional $1,200 of salary. Their earnings the previous year were $50,000 or $50. And so we're making small things possible one day at a time. I want to scale this, make this bigger, provide more opportunity. I'm hiring a manager right now from the Philippines to maybe bring on more Axie Infinity players. So this is just one small thing that one small man can do. But we're looking to do something bigger, provide more awareness, and make that global play.
Yeah, that's what it's about, man. It's about making everyone aware of blockchain. Like, that is what it's about. That is the one sole mission I have: make every living soul aware of blockchain. Because once we realize these things, like what Matthew's talking about, can happen.
And it's there, like Micah said, like, make people aware. It's literally there.
Yeah.
Like, you can download MetaMask now. You know what I mean? You can go to Coinbase or Gemini now. There's no credit check. There's no yes or no. There's no human. You're interacting with a smart contract. You know what I mean? So it's just there right now. It's just giving people that extra nudge they need to get into the marketplace, and to providing that entry point. I can't tell you how many people, just like your story, Julian, jump in, lose money, jump out. But that's not what it's about. That's what they do. Stocks, cryptocurrencies, they go up and down. That's the whole nature of what they do. That's their only job. Scroll farther out, you'll see the steep curve going up, and focus on the underlying technology and the problem that you're solving. Oh my gosh, you guys are making me think of my buddy Greg Conley here talking about hockey stick growth. He's gonna laugh. Greg, hockey stick growth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're talking about inventing the future. That's what it's about, right? Like, we as a species have solved a few problems over the course of time, right? Like, we figured out how to feed everybody when we started growing seeds. We figured out how to get everybody information when we got the printing press. But like, what we really got was math. There's like all these like leap forwards, right? And like, ever since we got math, the main problem we've been solving is how to get everyone all the stuff they need. And now we're consumed with stuff. Like, it sucks. We're ruining our planet. And what we're at is the very end of this stuff time, and at the very beginning of what Matthew talks about, this age of abundance. And blockchain is the technology that makes that possible. So I'll reiterate, that's what we're here for. Just to make every living soul know about blockchain. This is what we're here for.
Higher level is taking people from survival through to a mode of thriving, and from scarcity to abundance. And blockchain is a way to make it happen.
Yeah,
Amazing.
survival mode is scary, and a lot of America's in survival mode.
Yeah, not
Um,
even the America, the world. Uh,
yeah, I'm starting in my own backyard, but yeah, no, I totally agree. That's a great concept you just brought up there. Yeah, so
cool. To the moon and beyond as we take the world to abundance. Well, cool. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming on. This was super fun.
yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. Good times. I'm sure we'll be back around to finish talking about DeFi and all of these things.
Yeah, and figure out your weird ass stock structure. That it just sounds wild, but awesome. Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. This was fun. This was enlightening, and I am very excited to follow your guys' journey along with Mage and see all the magic that you will bring to the universe. So thank you for that, and yeah, for everyone, thanks for listening until the end, and take care and stay infinite as always, my friends.